this video we're doing this week is about the bear hunt I went on in North Carolina. A lot of thoughts into that bear hunt. I think it'd be the last bear I killed. I just killed a few of them, and this one kind of struck me. I don't know what it is about a bear. Definitely don't believe in the whole Disney thing, or not a big into personification of animals, but there's just something about a bear that I can't do it anymore. The hunter's paradox on a bear is way too much. Thankfully, for the hunt I got to do, a little emotional just thinking about it, really. But it's not for me anymore, I don't believe. I appreciate the work and the heritage that goes into it, but I think I'm done. So, that being said, if you're not into shooting bears, I would stop watching this video now. If, however, you are into shooting bears or any sort of hunting, which I will still hunt other animals, stay tuned, because what we're going to do is go through the hunt and then show me fleshing and skinning the hide, working the hide up, and then Jennifer and I are going to go straight into how we preserve meat here on the homestead with limited refrigeration space. So we're going to shoot a bear, skin a bear, flesh a bear, and can a bear and get it ready for you to eat. And please, as always, guys, if you're watching this, hit that subscribe button, because that's how we are able to keep doing this, and it doesn't cost you fellas anything out there just to push the little button, and like this video as well. But without further ado, we'll get into it. All right, so we're bear hunting in North Carolina. My friend Brian's, he had these deluxe accommodations, a nice little cabin he's got built there on his place. And the best part about this cabin is the view. You got to wake up to this every morning. Well, we didn't wake up to it every morning because we were bear hunting. We got to enjoy it every afternoon. Got to hunt with a lot of old friends, both two-legged and four. These people have been bear hunting for generations. And they have also raised generations of dogs. It's very much a community and family affair. One thing I will say about bear hunting in Appalachia, it's definitely a little more modernized than what one would think, but you still have to put in the footwork, and you still have to put in the dog work. These guys work all summer on these dogs, running them, getting them in shape. I mean, the dogs are truly athletes, and you too almost have to be an athlete in some of these places we got into. I mean, the mountain laurel is so thick you crawled in a lot of places. And into just about every day we hunted, I was whipped. My feet were hurting, wore out, but we got up and did it about 6 days in a row there and had a really good time. Got to see a lot of pretty country. So now we've got a bear. What are we going to do? Well, I saved you all the video of dragging it out and getting it up the mountain because my little cameraman buddy didn't do the best job, and pretty much it was just an arduous task anyway that you probably wouldn't have found that exciting. So now we're back home. I'm just going to flesh this bear hide out, get it stretched out and ready to tan. We may do a video later on down the road of the full tanning process. But for now, I'm just going to give you a few clips. And then Jennifer and I are going to go right into the preservation of the meat, which is probably be another video down the road in and of itself, but it's just kind of the quick and the dirty on it. So we'll get into the fleshing and the canning of the bear. All right, I've got my beautiful assistant here, and she missed out on all the fun stuff like the dragging and the gutting and the dragging.
Uphill both ways.
Uphill both ways in the snow. There wasn't any snow. But so she's going to help me here in our lovely outdoor kitchen we've been working on for a year. It's still not done.
It's been like 3 months, bro.
All right, she says 3 months, but anyway. Without further ado, we're going to show you how we go about canning this bear meat, and this is good for anything really. We've canned groundhog, white-tailed deer, bear, pork. That's about it, isn't it? Chickens, whole chickens. But we're just going to go through the down and dirty, as simple as it gets. There's no magic involved in canning meat at all. All right, so what all do we need?
Well, we're just going to do 4 pints today.
For demonstration purposes.
Yes. Because usually, you know, when you have a bunch of meat and time is of the essence, you don't have time to make sure that the background is not all cluttered up. So it kind of this is a little delayed. So you wouldn't want to see us out here in how we did the majority of this. So
not in real time.
No. So, you know, for small batch, you know, but normally we do quarts, of course. Sometimes pints, they're handy though if it's just me and him eating, so you don't have to have leftovers and stuff. But pints are super handy, and we're gonna do 4 today. All
right, so 4 pints, which is 1.5 gallons. But so the first step, we just need to cut the meat up, and we can even leave a lot of the white intermuscular stuff because pressure cooker breaks it down, right?
Yeah, sure does.
All righty.
Breaks it down.
Breaks it down. Era.
It's super delish because it's tender. You don't have to worry about, you know, basically just heat it up.
Yeah, that's the other good thing about canning meat. The toughest piece of meat you have in the world, you can can it and eat it with a fork 2 days later. It's just super tender, no matter how old the animal may be or how tough the animal may be. So what we're doing is just chunking it up, and the piece is about yay big.
About a 1-inch cube, basically. 1.5 to 2 inch.
1.5 to 2 inch cube. For you metric people, it's like 4.4 by 4.4 centimeters. Hey. And you just cube up enough to fill the jars up. Have you been putting water in with them? Yeah. We don't usually put water in. You could add a little water because it seems like on the deer meat, the top layer dries out some. But it seems like with pork and bear, it's so fatty, it's not nearly as bad.
Well, and I think also when you put the broth with it, you have to have that's another step. So,
yeah.
You know, if you're just dealing with the raw meat and put it in the jars, just all you have to add is the canning salt. It's a lot easier. But yeah, if you wanted to get fancy, and I think it does kind of help with the top if you had some broth on it. But for us, it would be just an extra step that we don't really have the desire to do that.
So no water this go round. Maybe with deer later, we may do a whole video on that.
Sounds good.
So now we've got the jar she just pulled out from boiling. Just take the meat, start putting it in the jar. Doesn't get any simpler than that.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
And usually I try to have everything set up so you're not, you know, it's important to get it in there while it's super hot. And I also have this wash rag that I just dipped in the boiling water, because once we get all the meat in there, I'm going to wipe the rim and then put the lid on. Some people like to boil their caps and their, you know, but I don't.
Salt.
Oh, salt. Boop.
Yeah.
So pickling salt.
Just a
Canning
touch.
Salt.
Just a sprig of prickling salt.
A teaspoon per quart. So for a pint, we're just about like that. You reckon?
Yeah, that seems pretty mathematically right, I suppose. 3 taps. 3 taps to a pint.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. So let me wipe it again in case you got any. Okay. Now we'll put the lid on. I don't tighten. You don't want to crank it on there. Just, you know, finger tight, and then just a smidge. So that's it.
That's it. That's all there is to it. Jar, meat, salt, lid. That's it. All right, so we just have an ordinary pressure canner like you would can vegetables or anything else with. It's what we do all our canning with out of the garden. And then just a propane fish cooker. And the goal is here, what has to happen actually, it's not just the goal, but we run about 15 psi for an hour and about 15 minutes on the canned meat. And you know, you need to read the instructions on your pressure cooker. You can do this with water bath. That's a whole nother process really in and of itself. But basically, this has a fill line. You fill the water up to the right height, put your jars in, put it on properly where it locks. Steam will start to come out of your pressure relief, and keep it at 15 psi for about an hour and 15 minutes. And when this comes out, it'll be just like it's cooked. You can eat it straight out of the jar.
All right, well, I turned them off some time ago. It's good to let the pressure escape. Sometimes I take this off if I'm kind of in a hurry, want to let the pressure out more. But be very careful if you take this off. Will be a hot jet of steam coming out. But these have sat here long enough. I'm not worried that ordinarily, definitely be careful when you open it. And then you just lift it out with your handy dandy thingy. Looks good. Looks like it should. Seals tight, and you know, it'll vary how much liquid is in there, but this is just purely from the meat, so it's pretty crazy, isn't it? You know, over time this top might get a little bit drier, but honestly, when you are, you know, put it in a stew or with some pasta or something, you really can't tell. It moistens up pretty fast. So like we said, we just pack it, just the meat, but you can use liquid if you want. But anyway, just set them on a towel. Don't let them touch or anything. Don't let them cool too fast. And you're good to go. You can store them for a long term.